Alright everyone, hello and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Hand-Eye Supply Curiosity Club. We're your host this evening. I'm Tobias Berblinger and this is Will Coma. Together we have a number of curious and exciting topics to share with you.
As attendees of the Hand-Eye Supply Curiosity Club, you are all now members, provided you adhere to our philosophy.
Ex Curiositas Scientia.
We pledge to learn without prejudice in pursuit of our mutual goal, perpetual noviceship. We admit that it is impossible to know everything about anything, and thus we remain perpetually curious and perpetually novice.
This is our flag and our mascot, Franklin. The lightning bolt represents the receipt of knowledge, the enlightenment of illumination, the resonance of truth understood. It awakens and excites us and makes us hungry for more. And now, let's give a warm Curiosity Club welcome to Aaron James Draplin of Draplin Design Co.
That was pretty good. Cadence and stuff. Okay, all right, okay, everybody. Is everyone comfortable? This is about a 3.5-hour presentation. Get comfortable. All right. My name is Aaron James Draplin. I'm 39 years old. Didn't have a business license up until about a year ago, and I got a letter from the city of Portland. So now I have a business license here as the Draplin Design Company after 10 years of breaking the law here in town. But I have a shop and a studio with a couple buddies, just kitty cornered here, and I make logos and catalogs and stuff. So yeah, that's what I do. And I prepared a multimedia presentation tonight. I've been on a bit of a, I'll never be in a band. I learn a song on my guitars, I forget the fucking song a minute later. At one point I could play a PW Long album all the way through, but I'll never be in a band, right? So I got to go tour the last 6 months, kind of like a band. I did 30 shows. I've been telling my story to design chapters in schools and a lot of nerd conferences and shit, and really basically adhering to this kind of go wherever they'll have you policy, right? So to come and do these things, I've been in front of 500 people, 300 people, 200 people, and tonight 40 people, right? And suddenly I'm like really nervous because I'm home, because it's easy to do this shit in Rapid City and then never ever go back. Okay, so that said, I've been doing this thing called Tall Tales from a Large Man, and I got to do, like I said, 30 times. So I know that song, but it's all the way through. So I tried to make something new called Things About Things That Don't Have Anything to Do with Things, because I've been going to these smart nerd conferences, and there's that guy out there who does this about something. It's real smart shit, right? And they put all the stuff together, and it's some smarter thing when he's done, and then they'll go. Real tired of that shit. I sweat a lot. I get real weirded out up here. So just a little preface to kind of like, what I've been lucky to go do the last 6 months, and then to do this tonight and try to share this with you guys, this whole mess. So that said, look here, because we have a bit of a multimedia, mess to try to get through, and we'll see if it's called Things About Things That Don't Have a thing to do with things. And number one, hairy things, and that's me, right? So let's see if we can't do this with a hello, thank you for coming. Okay, multimedia things. Okay, to the music here. So we got, here we go, I'm just going to crank this some bitch. Okay. Little multimedia to the beat. Not promising, it's just a PDF. I learned how to embed the song into the PDF. Okay, here we go. A little band called High on Fire from the Bay Area to help us through the multimedia section. So. Multimedia. All right. Thanks for clapping. Thing number 3. Okay, so hairy things, and then some multimedia shit, and then some, the power is the thing, power saying thank you. Thank you to Tobias, the Curiosity Club, and Hand Eye Supply, and Core 77. My buddy Willie Vlotton, just because I like to say that name. Cobra Dogs, Lovejoy, who better be here. And then Lee, okay? Thank you for having me and rolling the dice on this. And then, of course, to all you guys for coming out. It's really cool. So, all right, thank you. So it's easy to do this shit here because I kind of know a lot of you. But when you go to Columbia, South Carolina, I know how they vote down there. It gets tricky because I'm not afraid to say kind of what I want to say, right? So I have a legal disclaimer that our legal team put together so I don't offend anyone with my colorful language or liberal-leaning politics. All right, thank you. I've been going to a lot of nerd conferences this last 6 months, last year, and graphic designers, they like they're really guarded about what they do. They're really all the secrets of how they make their money, how their techniques are very guarded. But these kind of like internet guys, they're really good about sharing. And I have to say that's something that I've noticed and I really dig. But as a warning tonight to any coders in the crowd, I have a warning. Imagine 300 coders sitting there last week in Vancouver reading this. Yeah. Real painful, Right. Awkward things, right? It is, right? It's weird, yeah, okay. Puzzling things. This is going to get, this is totally stupid. I'm trying new shit. Puzzling things. Number 7. We park in the driveway, yet we drive on the parkway. Multimedia. Canadian things. Something I was record shopping and I found this little thing and I can't stop looking at it. Like this incredible graphic. It's from 1967, right? And a lot of the sort of like subtext tonight is about dead things, right? And old dead things and stuff and how you find these things. And this thing was buried. It was trash. It's not even really playable. But this idea that like there's all this trash to be found, like this thing is just prominently displayed how beautiful that things used to be. It didn't have to show an orchestra, but it kind of conveys that, right? Sharp things, right? Sharp things. As I slow down from fucking around with mouses, I want to get back to carving because I used to carve a lot, right? And I would make chain links and stuff. And I'm here as proof tonight that sharp things can mess up the rest of your life. If you see I have a big line there because I cut the shit out of myself with an X-Acto blade carving something like this up in Alaska. So always cut away from yourself. There's a safety thing to do that. Creepy things. If you've seen the Tall Tales show, there's a quote about purple. It says, nothing quite says I don't quite get it quite like purple, right? And Shelby, that shirt is borderline purple. Yeah. So be careful with purple things. They're very tricky. And just be careful. So, what was that again? Yeah, creepy things. Okay. Number 11, things around. Things on the ground, right? It's funny how for the last 15 years, things on the ground were more interesting than like something you might buy to me or whatever. Dead things, junky things that you find like in like a parking lot or like when you go to park, like your ticket stub, dead things. I've been collecting these things for a lot of years. And like I said, I made this big collage of these things. This is all these things are junk, right? Wrappers and little things, old, dead, little decayed things. But don't forget about these things, right? Always look down, right? Always look down. Magical things, right? I can't believe I'm gonna do it. So this is my dad was like, well, you should do some magic for him. So we made a magic trick. So I have a backdrop here. I did this to 300 people, right? And, so here's my dad taught me this magic trick. Yeah, you see it? Yeah, cool. Yeah. Magical things. Yeah. I told you it was going to be stupid. Sorry, Andy. Sorry. Okay, now let me see if that jam is still going on. It is. Okay, now next thing here is this vectorish things. So I'm going to show you 100 logos for proof of making logos for a living and stuff. A couple of them made me lots of cash, and 99 of them made me nothing, right? So think about that. While this frisky little Australian singing act called Tame Impala helps you along here. So we're going to hear this jam for a second while we get to the Tame Impala. Okay. Vectory things, right? So when you go do these talks, all right. I don't want to go into my head. Thank you. You go do these talks, and I've been to the talks, design talks. Like, they have a pretty good range of stuff here. People on boats and makers and things. But you go to these design talks, and they'll be about someone's portfolio, right? And I have a section in my Tall Tales thing, but it's only 90 seconds, because I'd rather tell stories about how fucking weird this stuff is to me that I get to do it, right? So that's how I try to show proof, because I always have kids saying, we want to see more work and more process, and that's how I do it. I just show 100 things in 100 seconds or whatever the hell it is to some Australian hipsters or whatever they are. But we got to meet them at the Sasquatch Festival. They were very nice guys, and I'll just say that much. I love that band. Holy shit! I mean, all these new bands, I wrote them off. There's Beach House, Real Estate, all these two-word bands. Tame Impala, ba 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 ba. I just wrote it off as another one of these cute bands. But I went and listened to it again. I love Tame Impala. So anyway, unforeseen things, right? Unforeseen things. I have a career in graphic design, right? And I fucking didn't think I'd ever have one, right? And when I say unforeseen, because I'm serious about that. Like, I remember when I got out of school or when I took my first job and always planning contingency plans to say, well, should it work, I can always do this. I can go back to Alaska for a summer and make 15 grand or something, right? Well, now I'm like paid to go to places to talk about my career, and it's just so surreal, right? And just how fucking thankful I am to be able to tell this stuff to you guys, to show you those logos, to share all this riffraff, and that's kind of unforeseen. Fuck things. Oh man, here we go. I bought a house, and I didn't even think I'd get a loan, and I got the loan, yeah. And I paid that fucker faithfully for 8.5 years, every month, $1,500, and then I paid off the little bit of mortgage insurance one, right? Paid that one off. That was 30 grand. Okay. I know you're not supposed to talk about money, but the house was $229. Then I'm down to something like $185, right? So then I chop off this, this 30, and then for how many years I paid for 8.5 years? I thought that's what you do until you die, right? That's what we're told. So for 30 more years, I'd pay 800 grand to own this little house in 67th. But 2.5 years ago, I went and I paid that fucker off, right? I drained my account, and that's financial things, right? I own this home. And when I paid that thing off with design, this bullshit, mind you, I walked out of there from 5.5 to about 5'9 3/4, right? 5'10. Because I was paying this dick 12 or 13 grand a year to hold the note, right? So think about that, you know. We're not told that, you know. And I mean, we all need homes and all this kind of stuff. I have friends who debate renting versus buying and stuff, but we're told that you're just lucky to get it, and then you're going to pay all these charges and stuff. So, you know, yeah, financial things. I paid my house off with graphic design, you know, and my life in Portland cost about 13 or 14 grand a year, you know. And as you refine your life down, what matters? You know, what matters? So here's a free food thing for my friends on the road who aren't afraid to go through a drive-through every now and again. This is a trick I learned when I was about 19 years old with some crusty guys out of Bend, Oregon, where I used to live. And when you're on the road and you go through town, let's just say you're in Portland and you leave Portland and you go to Salem. Okay, you're on your way down to go junk for the day in Medford or something. And you get to Salem, so you go through your drive-through at some big Burgerville or whatever. You get a big bag of shit, right? Eat it, whatever, right? Okay, and then you get to Corvallis and go through the drive-through at the next Burgerville, and you just say, you know, back in Salem, they didn't quite give me my fish sandwich. And you can eat for free all the way down wherever you're going. I saw a guy do that with a series of receipts from Bend, Oregon, all the way to Las Vegas one time. No shit. Free food thing. Motherfuckery things. Motherfuckery things. Rock jeans. Old stickery things. My favorite old stickers are the IMCO stickers. I have a monster collection of these things. Whenever I see them out there, I grab them. And I've been collecting these things for years. And I mean, and as part of these talks, it's to kind of say, if you want to part with your collection, I'll buy it off you. Or play with these things, enjoy these things, you know, these old stickery things. I was just in Canada, you know, and I showed them this, like, I have a stack like that high, so I'll trade these things if anyone's feeling frisky, you know, because when I see them, and they're $1, and they have 50 left, I just buy the whole lot, and I'll say, how about 20 for the whole mess? Because I like this idea of having this kind of currency with these guys that I can trade or whatever you want to call it. Because these things are gone and dead. You know, 7 and 8 goopy screen colors on these things, and they were gorgeous, right? And what do we have now? I mean, think about these old stickery things. And the next time you're at, like, the Jubit's truck stop or whatever that is out there, you know, go look at what they offer, their stickery things, and you're going to see how bad they suck. You know? It's easy to, you know, these are easy targets, sure. But just think about these old stickery things, you know. Junkin' things, ooh. Junkin' things. It's getting that time again. And there's my buddy Dale Allen Dixon, yeah. Found himself a nice Peter Frampton picture, you know. And this is on the world's longest yard sale down from, oh man, Civil War heat to hot as shit from Ohio all the way down to Alabama. And Junkin' things, and this is what we do for fun. Like, what do people do for fun in town here? They go, you know, my buddies who are into all that kind of like, you know, folky, neo-folk, they're like at some river on some spiritual quest. My other friends who are into black and everything darker, they're all heavy metal, they're going to some Plan B and I don't know, whatever they're doing. I go junkin', right? Some of my friends go junkin'. And here's just a little lesson when you're junkin'. Always turn shit over. Okay? So when you find something out there, always look at the bottom because then you'll find shit like this. Ooh, right? Now, some designer thought about that shit. That was a package for a light bulb. It's just these little things like this that someone thought, like, these are these little discoveries that I make hourly when I'm out there that remind me where design can go, where it was, and how we're forgetting these little details, right? So always turn shit over when you're junking, or just for that matter in life, always just turn shit over. Forgotten things, right? All this old stuff. You know, now this is kind of, if you've seen my talk, you know, I really go on about this stuff because it's just this idea of the power. I was challenged by a kid who wasn't into this shit, right? He's into futuristic, I don't know, Daffy Punk, fucking, whatever. Great. But all this shit here, these things, still affect his work, you know? Because one color on a piece of shit cardboard is a good lesson to understand. It's a good reminder of where they used to only, where they only could operate, you know? And now that we have a million typefaces and a million programs and a million, you know, decisions that were due yesterday and all this kind of stuff, We still can't do what those guys did, painting the logo. Painting the logo. You know how they used to make a logo? They would paint it on white, take a picture of that, wait a day for the picture to come back a couple days, scale it down, see what that looks like, go back to that drawing board, tune something up, and do that process again until that thing was right. We can do that in the afternoon or in an hour now, but yet our stuff lacks something that I see in all these old dead things, you know. Restraint, the beauty of one or two color, how to use a lot of color in a really dynamic way. So there's a lot of lessons out there, and this is just to show you guys, don't be afraid to go and get dirty. Now, of course, I'm talking to Portland, this is easy, but you know, on 135th and whatever, at some sketchy ass estate sale or whatever this weekend, go out there because you'll find tons of this shit for free. And I take a big shoebox of this stuff up, and I'll hand it to the lady. She'll just say, "Honey, just take it home." You know, it's junk, but I find great beauty in it. And on a delusional level, I'm trying to rescue this stuff. Someday I'd love to pound it into a book. Because here's the thing: is when you make a logo that gets pounded into metal, it's going to be effective. It's going to last for 1,000 years. And you look at website logos and stuff now. And I mean, you know, this is easy. These are easier targets, but you know, people don't have the same principles on lock anymore. Something looks good this big. Something looks good this big. Something looks good on this wall. That's what Paul Rand and Saul Bass taught me somewhere along the line. You know, and these are just reminders of what's out there. And don't let it go. Go, you know, you've got your phones, and your doodads and dingleberries and face whizzes and shit, and everyone's taking fucking photos of coffee. What the fuck? A little leaf? I did some back tracing. Take some photos of some old dead shit, or whatever you want to call it. Let's save this stuff before it's gone, because when you go to that estate sale this weekend, and we'll probably be out there, when all the parasite, you know, there's this one guy, got a goiter on his neck, he's after getting glassware. Like, when all that shit's gone, whatever's left over, that just gets thrown out, right? And this idea that these old dead things are gone forever, that's just sad to me. So I'm trying to do my part to kind of, you know, collect it, do that too. Larceny things. If your parents own a boatyard in northern Boston, right around 96, 97 on my first East Coast trip, I stole a number of nameplates from that boatyard. I apologize, but I've been known to jump a fence to go and steal dead nameplates in the name of graphic design. That's what I do for fun, yeah, in my younger years. But larceny things, yeah, and these, I mean, the type was so beautiful and so unapologetic and so, you know, really authentic and pure. And now every motherfucker and their brother is a supply company. Everyone, Thistle and Dick and Thatch, Salt and Straw. Really? You seen the line outside of that place? Hey, shit's great. I'll destroy a big bowl of that stuff, but. Yay, all right. So, influential things. Number 23, influential things. This box started my whole life in design, right? 1978, I was 5 years old, 4.5 years old. And, you know, I remember it. I remember my dad explaining to me the type on the side and saying how it was sort of like this. My parents didn't have a lot, but they understood art and they understood sort of modern things. Not like, you know, I had an uncle who had an Eames chair. We weren't allowed to sit in it. But my parents could afford like Dansk, you know, like the Dansk, like the old cups and stuff. I remember my dad sort of explaining this to me, like, you know, well, these are from somewhere far away, Denmark or Holland or whatever it was. And the type is different because it has to speak to a lot of people, you know. And those principles, they still work today. So that's where things got started for me in design, you know, to see those things. Number 24, cosmic things. You know, rolling, you know, some space there. This is real right now. Okay, we're here, we're merch, friends, beers, wide array of aprons. Nice job. But right now, we're floating out on Earth, right? And I kind of forgot about this shit. I worry about type. I worry about making a living. I worry about paying off the house or going on vacations or going on road trips or going junking or whatever. Or, you know, like colored vinyl, I worry about that. Just stupid things. And I forgot that we're on this floating in the middle of nowhere. So what? 100 miles that way is what? Corvallis? 100 miles this way is what? Olympia? Right? What about 100 million miles that way? That's real. That's science, right? Forever, never, never. Tonight, I forgot about this shit. Tonight, when you're on your the roof of your halfway house or wherever you live in town here, and you do this, you look at the sky, in your little finger is 100 billion galaxies. Every one of those galaxies has 400 to 500 million stars. I mean, this is all science. There's like gamma rays and shit that they're figuring out about this. And every one of those stars has some planets around it, right? And that's real. And I just want you to kind of get cosmic just a little bit more, right? That this is actually, like, we are so insignificant in how beautiful that is and how random that is. And that's actually real. Now, like I said, when I was in Columbia, South Carolina, and the kid said, well then, if you don't believe in God, who made the Big Bang? Well, I don't know, but that's real too. That's 13.5 fucking skillion years ago, right? I don't know. You know. But, you know, as just a real estate, we are a pinpoint within a pinpoint within a pinpoint within a pinpoint. And to illustrate that, you know, this has really changed the way I look at my job and a lot of things in my, 39 and a half years of existence. Because deep space things, there's something in deep space right now. We're floating, and we sent this little guy, Voyager 1, back in 1977, whipping towards the nearest star that we can see from my roof on 67th tonight. Whatever the name of that star was, we pointed this guy at it, and it went off the Earth, got some speed, went to the moon, got more speed, and went whipping off at 144,000 miles an hour or something. It's been doing that for 36 years, in that one direction, right? Pointing at this little star. And for that guy, just to go, now it's just at what they call deep space. It's a long, long fucking way away from the Earth, right? Theoretical deep space of what we know. Once it goes past that little edge, somewhere in the next couple of years here, they sort of speculate, it's going to be affected by some sort of like solar winds or something and all this. I mean, you can Wikipedia the thing. But for that thing to keep going in that direction, to get to that nearest star, it's got to go 150,000, or whatever the hell it is, miles an hour for 77,000 more years just to get to the next star. That's the closest star in our little galaxy, right? Now, there's some other shit a lot farther from that, but that's actually real. And as a way to make a tribute to all this stuff, like I was raised on the space shuttle, right? And I made this little graphic for it, man, because, well, the graphics suck for the stuff, you know? I mean, I was also raised on these. I mean, some were cool, some weren't, you know, whatever. But the idea that this stuff is gone or is now relegated to, like, I mean, there's like space camps done and stuff. You know, we need to dream about that stuff and stay. And I remember, that's 6 miles above Earth, right? That's some pretty close. It's pretty close to us in space. So I made stickers and some tats as a way to just, I don't know, to raise awareness, to go and get your fucking Carl Sagan on just a little bit. Because when I started doing this stuff, I've been reading about, you know, how insignificant we really are, you know. And it's just amazing. So I don't know, I mean, just get a little more cosmic. I can live my little life just sweating out vectors on laptops and on my little monitors at the shop. But something about space has really got me, you know. And we have no idea. And we will never have any idea. That's really the kind of the fun part about this. Dad things. My dad, right? Dad things. My dad made himself a T-shirt. Bit of a typo. Here he is working at his, you know, my dad, craftsman, you know, he makes birdhouses. Turns out there's no more birds left in northern Michigan. They all live in my parents' backyard. My dad's working out here in his little, you know, space. He realizes I walk up, right? Here he is presenting the window on his 1999 Ford, you know, Mistake or Despair or whatever the hell that model of station wagon is. I hate that window, but my dad loves it. He bought the car for the windows. And my dad makes birdhouses. So these things, you know, I want to quit working so much so I can spend more time with my family, my girl, my friends again, and then back home in Michigan. So my dad, I've been working very hard for just since I could, right? And you know, I don't want my mom and dad to work anymore ever. I want my dad to just hang out and make kick-ass bird things with old dead stuff, dead things. Look at these things. He calls them stuffed birdhouses. And like I said, no birds in northern Michigan anymore. They all live back there. And yeah, so you know, dad things. My dad wrote a joke. My dad's a pretty funny guy, and he said, well, here's a joke I wrote for those audiences you're in front of. And, you guys have a technical difficulty. You can tell them a joke while they're getting it worked out. So here's a joke my dad wrote. What's the difference between pink and purple? What's the difference between pink and purple? For designers. The grit. The grit. Tough crowd. Sasquatchy things. I told you it was going to get bad tonight. How much was admission? Sasquatchy things. I got a really cool job in the fall. I got to make all the posters and the stuff for the Sasquatch Festival. Now, I went about 10 years ago to see, what the fuck did I see that time? I think the Flaming Lips, and it was like, they were already so big and so wild, but I wanted to see them in like the biggest venue I'd ever seen. It was about 2002. And this year, I haven't gone 10 years because I don't do well in heat. And anymore, I don't do well around people who are 21. But I got to go to the Sasquatch Festival, and I got to make these things this year. And we went, and all these little things that we made, kind of can't see them, but I made all the graphics. This was one of my jobs, and then we worked on it for 3 or 4 months because, we'd make a poster. If you see here, we do the hierarchy of this thing in our little Sasquatch figure. Macklemore, whoever the hell that is, had to be a little bigger than, higher than Vampire Weekend and so on. I mean, if you're in bands, you understand how this works with the hierarchy. Like, the Foo Fighters are at this many points, and then, Danny Zell and the Zelltones are at this many points, and that's just how it works with managers and shit, right? Well, the bands I like, there were like 3 bands I wanted to see on this thing, But I got to go, and I made them promise me the most backstagiest of backstage passes. And, you walk up, and our little graphics were all over the place. It was really, really fun, to see this. The merch table, I don't buy any of that shit, but I love merch tables, And I was just kind of like, watch the edges, and all this kind of shit, excited. They're rolling them up. And to see that from up there was pretty cool, to see our graphics all over this thing. This is one job I got the call from the guy, my buddy Don from Invisible Creature. He did it for 6 or 7 years. He did a great job and had all that kind of the cool little figures and stuff. And we just wanted to make something. So he came to me and saying, I like your thick lines, great, yeah, I'm into that. And then I like your bric-a-brac posters you do, So we got to go out there and see this stuff, and I got to see Tame Impala, which was great. I got to look at their little pedal boards and all that shit, what they're using and stuff, and I was just nerding out. And we got to walk in front of this 200-foot whatever and see our graphics up there, my graphics. It was really, really fun. So there's Tame Impala, yeah, some Sasquatchy things on some Yeti side stage here. Look at this. They made a floating set of, Cabal Black at 8,000 point, whatever it was. That was pretty cool. 8,005 point, I don't know. Dead stock things, number 30. Dead stock things. Everyone having a good time? Yeah. All right, this shit's weird. Someone else can just come up here and do it. I've been doing so many of them, when you have it's harder when it's 30 people. When it's 300, I don't know, it's weird. You just kind of don't care. You just kind of go for it. But it's weirder. I know everybody here. Sorry. You're bringing a knife to a gunfight, just so you know. That's what I tell you. Warning. So, okay, dead stock things. Moving right along. I love dead shit. Old dead things. But dead stock is some of the coolest of the junking. Because when I went to Niagara Falls to speak to Toronto and then Buffalo the night before, when you go to one of these little, funny little tourist traps, these are still there for sale, and they're the same thing from 1982. If you look at that little graphic, some little one-color graphic on some weird little plastic thing, and it's a little kind of impromptu little rain jacket, and that's dead stock. There's no reason for it to get nixed from the shelf. It's just until it's gone. It's still functional, and that's my favorite of the stuff, because if you go to Iowa and you go to a dime store there, you'll find shit on the lowest rung of these little things from 1980, old notebooks. It still works, it's still paper, it's still a pencil, it's still a hair clip or some weird sunglasses. So always look for the dead stock shit, because now I see people buy a big pile of it and then put it on eBay for big prices, fucking Dale. But compiled things. I've been making these state posters and city posters and stuff everywhere I go. It's just this idea of celebrating old dead logos, colloquialisms, slang, stuff, lore, dead stuff, dead logos, folk heroes, whatever, and pounding them into these places. Because when I go to these talks, and I've been able to do a ton of them, which is awesome, they want to make a poster with me, right? And I just don't, it's not going to sell, number one. I mean, who wants that on their wall, you know? So I try to make something, head them off of the pass, that they can take home to your parents, you know? Because we're so good at making shit for our smart friends. But yet, you know, it's hard to make something that like a lot of people can enjoy. So like I went to Nebraska, Florida, big Florida poster, big ass California. I mean, where do you even start to pound in all the punk bands and shit from there, whatever, right? But I've been compiling stuff with old weird logos, Canada, which is incredible. There's so many good logos in Canada. And making these things and selling these things and just really celebrating, did a big one for Oregon. Things I love from where I've been, you know. Or, in my travels, I've been to 49 of 50 states. I did that before I was 25. Holding out for Hawaii, you know, large man in a tropical climate. Not interested. But, this idea of like celebrating this stuff, you know, that somewhere along the lines, in a lot of these logos, they were redesigned for a political purpose. They were resold. The company was resold. And to breathe new life into it, they redesigned it in '95.
I don't know if this question.
This better be good, Andy.
Which was was there one that was the hardest to do?
Oh,
of all states. Like we realized there's nothing.
Oh, no. That's awesome. No, not at all.
Because you did like your Utah one thing.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like you were struggling.
No, because well, I'm not going to slam any of my friends from Utah. What a colorful, magical place you're from, Andy. But, the thing is, kind of no. I mean, I have like a little like gruel of stuff that I love, like the logos that I remember, because I keyworded a lot of my photos over the years. So I'll have like just passing through. I mean, they're interstates, but when I've been lucky, I'll do Highway 20 instead of Highway 80, and then you can kind of like really slow down and go through these little towns, and you'll find incredible shit. That's like one bank in northeastern Nebraska or something. That's an incredible logo. So sometimes, yes, you have to kind of go digging. I mean, obviously places that I just did Arkansas, and I mean, what the fuck is from Arkansas? But I mean, there's a lot. I mean, when you go digging, that's where it's really cool, But the sad part is it's shit that you find buried in Flickrs in old like Yahoo accounts and shit. Like it's dead stuff, It's dead stuff that's still decaying, So I'm trying to make these things that people can enjoy and have little reminders of bands and bullshit and things that I like from wherever. And so compiled things. Okay, ocean rock thing. Now, my lady goes out, what do you call it, with the trees and shit. She goes outside, and I'm working towards that myself. When I used to live in Alaska, I would go, on my day off, I'd go to the record store, and then I would go along and I would take this shortcut along this beach, and there'd be all these crazy rocks. And I found this rock, right? This little rock. I'm telling you, it's a lot of dumb things, but I made it into a little ocean guitar thing. Horror movie thing, right? Horror movie thing. The Thing. That's it. I love this thing. Embroidered things. Ooh. We were just in Lexington, Kentucky, and we went into this like little record store, and like there's nothing left in Lexington. There's one record store, but even weirder, it's not just a record store; it's a bric-a-brac store. So it's got comic books and like vintage shirts and just kind of like all the cool shit you'd find everywhere in Portland in one potent place in Lexington. And as we were just walking out, I just spotted this little pile of patches underneath some shit. And the first patch I pulled out, and the second patch were these guys. Ooh. Embroidered things. So, in my life, and how I travel, and how I work on my field notes, and I always have a little satchel my buddies made me over there at the Red Clouds Collective. These things have been blowing my mind for a month now, And just don't forget about this, because when you have to embroider, you have to really kind of think in one color, sometimes. And well, back then, that's all they could think of. And I mean, that's why these logos still look good 40 and 30 years later on these embroidered things, because they were built with that in mind. I love now, I just got a job for, I guess I can fuck it, whatever. Well, I got a new logo job, and I'm not supposed to talk about it, but they sent me all the shit that some turkeys worked on for 8 months. People way smarter than me. But they didn't think that fucker's going to have to, it's really going to have its life on Twitter and on little tiny little Instagriz and that little tiny 10 by 10 pixel. That's where people are really going to see it. And all the shit they've got just piled into that thing, you know. It's not effective, you know. So I'm showing them that, like, you know, the lessons I've learned from these guys can still work with theirs. And it doesn't have to be some goopy 3-line thing. I mean, I love to make that stuff when I can sell it, sure. But it's more about, you know, the power of just restraint, you know, and simplicity, really. So, you know, embroidered things. Okay, surprise things. Is that even a word? Right? Fuck it. Well, I just got a new record for my buddies, Megafaun. They're in this band called the Shouting Matches with Bon Iver. He's a big goddamn thing. These are Wisconsin boys, right? Great. Side story, my little sister had a baby. She raised the kid in the womb to the first For Emma record, right? The kid still hums the songs. That's a true story. Well, I don't want to tell you. But, on the new record, yeah, I got the record, and I was all excited because I know Phil here from Megafaun, right? I'm a fan and shit. And I looked, and he's wearing a DDC hat on the cover of their new record, you know? And when I saw this, like, what a cool little surprise. Like, you know, I will have that record out on my, you can see behind there, my little IKEA thing, you know, my records. You know, I will have that out in that little cubicle forever, just seeing it. I was just so blown away, and I'm going to send him another one because I guess his wife said it stinks now. It's been about a year since he got it. Mind-blowing things, mind-blowing things. I'm 39.7 years old. In 3 months, or whatever it is, I'm going to be 40. It is fucking blowing my mind. 30 was nothing. 40 is pretty interesting. I mean, I'm going to kick its ass just like I did 39. But my mind is kind of blown because I'm working on jobs for 22-year-olds, and that's getting tricky. Because let's just say I keep hammering for 8 more years, and I'm 48 working on shit for 22-year-olds. That gets even weirder, you know? And when you wake up and realize that you've kind of like aged yourself, I'm in my middle age now, and I know a bunch of you are too. But technically, middle age, right? Freaking me out. Okay, skateboarding things. 37. Ooh, my 2 favorite graphics of all time. Started me back in the day, Mr. Jim Phil. I mean, come on, you know. But yeah, skateboarding things, papery things. I mean, why I show this stuff is because I love when kids will say, you know, how do you get to do what you get to do, and you know, how you do it and stuff. I'm just gonna say, I chose skateboarding when I could have chose some other shit in the Midwest, you know? And then, well, whatever, I mean, whatever, like throwing a football or something. I mean, I chose heavy metal back in the day. I chose punk rock, and then I chose smashed my head on the indie rock in about 1992. You know, I got introduced to this stuff in 86 or 87, and it changed everything for me. Art and this weird California style. And of course, when you meet the turkeys that make this shit, it's all deflated. So don't meet your heroes, you know, really. But this is what got me going, you know, that stuff. You know, so thankful that I chose skateboarding. When some other fucker who was making fun of me because I had dead Kennedys on my sweatshirt or t-shirt, and he had, what'd you have on? And goddamn, I don't know, something in 1991. He chose his path and I chose mine, and for all of us in this room, we fucking won. We won. I'm serious. Think about that shit. Serious. Because I'll go home and I'll, you know, get the stock reports. Oh, how you been? You know, people who use terms like old lady, seriously, you know, don't love their jobs. I have buddies who are photographers, heavy metal art directors. I mean, there's some cool shit that goes on in here, you know, and you know, skateboarding opened that door for me. I'm just very thankful. So papery things. I make a little thing called field notes, right? And this was sort of invented or uninvented or devented or whatever you want to call it, just after years of collecting these old dead things from you know, old pieces of paper and little foldy things and little metal books from my travels in the Midwest. And I think we're up to like 800 or 900 of the things. So I made my own in about 2002. And I made my own by just simply, well, what's it take? Paper and staples and put them together, and you put a Gocco on the front, a Gocco on the back. You guys know what Gocco printers are, right? And I made my own. I did 200, and I just gave them to all my asshole buddies. And I gave one of those to my buddy Jim Kudal, who's way smarter than all of us, right? And that's where we started making field notes. So this one, I always lose my shit, and I start to cry. This is one of the triggers. My parents, Lee, little nephew, and then this one. Because we exhausted all the French paper covers, right? So I mean, that's big. I know Jerry; he's a good buddy. And I don't want to freak anyone out. We got some new shit going on in Field Notes. Ready? Hold on to your seats. Coated paper. I know. This is big. I'm just kidding. We made coated paper just because. Sorry. After all these years, 7 or 8 years of uncoated paper, we made. This doesn't go over well, right? Well, our new motto, because how they used to do this stuff is when you would go in with your little feed and seed. That's what the white bar is for. And you would go in and you would say, I'm Draplin feed and seed out of somewhere, Wisconsin, and I want the Southwest edition. I want the Midwest edition. I want the Winter edition. And you would pick from these little kits, I want the corn, here's all the corn stuff. And then they would take one color black, put on that little white bar, and the next town over, they'd probably pick the same shit with that same lumber, and theirs would say Landau, feed and seed or whatever. So that's our tribute to these little guys, and they were coated paper, and we made sure all the alignment was fucked up on all the dots. They're all about one. Like we were pissed because some actually were in registration. We were pissed. That's my life now. Thank you. All right, speaking fiasco things. It's weird being up here. I don't know how musicians do it. I don't know how, it's just weird to do this stuff. And I have been able to go a lot of places. I've said this a ton tonight, but this was just up until September of last year. And I'm just super thankful because I get to go to every record store in every one of those towns. Every guitar store or something. That's my treat. And the show will continue to go on. I have 2017. It's kind of an arbitrary number, but I got to go to all these places in just the last, 5.5 months. And today is sort of the first one of the summer. I'm gonna do one in Wisconsin on the way home. But surreal things. I got to go do speaking fiasco things for all this time. Surreal things. This in Omaha. The next night was Johnny Marr from the Smiths. He's playing that stage. So you're up there, fucking 220 people showing up for my stupid show in Omaha. That is very surreal. And you're like, there's just one little mic on a little like an open mic, it was real weird. So I just started collecting amps and monitors and shit, and made this little thing to kind of hide behind, because it was real weird. But that was surreal. Heavy metal things, right? Fucking number 41. Our buddies in Red Fang are out there doing it. So tonight, say a little prayer to the bastions of evil or whatever it is, you guys, the darkness, the devoid of light, whatever it is, the powers of Beelzebub or some shit, because fucking Red Fang is out there kicking the world's ass, and I'm just so proud, Yeah. They played a parking lot, what was it? Neil Diamond parking lot and whatever the other parking lots, the funny things, heavy metal parking lot. Red Fang parking lot a couple weekends ago, and it was out at the Clackamas Town Center. It was raining, and I was just so happy to see. I just fucking love this band because my buddies in bands, they'd make 1.5 records and end up owing money on the second record, such heartbreak, or make 100 7-inches and sell them in the first night. To all you guys in bands, make 500. I'll buy 20, whatever to give my friends. What the fuck is that deal? But anyway, our attempt at heavy metal things, this, right? That's our attempt. So we made a shirt. We made a tour t-shirt, and I was ripping Gary in half. Yeah, you kind of see. Got hot dogs and microphone cords and field notes and shit whipping around. And my favorite slide of the night, look at this. All the shows on the back, right? One more color, one more pass. Cost money. But it was awesome. Look at that. I mean, how fucking cool is it? I sold, 288 of these things or something on the tour. It was awesome. Upcoming things. I'm making shitty bumper stickers. I got my dad. Those fake Imco, the fake, it's the old Drapco. This is against the law to make this stuff. Fake, union printing logo. But I'm going to make shitty bumper stickers with the little kiss cut and the little hole, and I'm going to leave them in tourist traps all over America and just walk out. So you'll go in there, magnets and shot glasses and all that shit, and then there'll be shit Chad Jim Draplin sitting there, and they're going to print. So, these used to be done on paper, right? So they're going to print on whatever vinyl stuff it is, and then they hit it with some kind of aqueous or something to make it look matte, right? Make it look shittier. So that's coming. That's coming. I'm coming up in my 11th year with Coal Headwear out of Seattle. I made shirts for big boys and big boys only. Now I'm scanning the crowd, and just like it always is for me in Portland, I'm the largest man there, and I'm always the one who gets stopped at the barbecue and says, "Excuse me, sir, just so you know, the vegan side is over here, and then the veggie side's here." And then, "Excuse me, ma'am, where's the buffalo hoof go on the fucking barbecue?" So fuck it, I made shirts for big men, 2X to 6X. Got a buddy in Kentucky who bought a 6X and offered to call him to walk him through it. Tricky threads, but because man, this small through extra large shit, that's like fucking 7th grade for a lot of people. So anyway, all right. Made a logo for a high-tech bike company. Some shit for Woolrich. I got to help kids. I made this trippy little art thing. It's called the Valley of Thick-Lined Love. And it's based on an old, I remember, my mom had great tablecloths. And I don't remember anything looking like this, but I just made this for Target. And they're a little chain of stores. You had to give them a shot out of Minneapolis. And all the I'm going to start to fucking cry. All the proceeds, they go to kids at this thing called Target House, which are kids, who are sick, really sick. All the proceeds go to the art supplies. So when they're there and they're healing, they got kick-ass art supplies, right? So I did this for these guys with 9 other artists, and they've already all sold out. They raised a couple grand, really cool. I made Oregon T-shirts, just because I live here and stuff, and get real tired of seeing, keep Oregon wet, or keep Oregon weird, or keep Portland wild, or whatever the fuck, So yeah. My 9th or 10th year now with the Union Binding Company. Still working on these guys out of Seattle. Man or Astroman, sort of a spacey, cosmic surf band from those mid-rock and mid-90s. I made their new record series for them with my buddy Chunklet, and didn't get paid a goddamn cent, but don't care. It's for multimedia. The new album Rips. It was done by Albini. It's real heavy. It's good. Made shitty caps again, all made in America, after 2 dark years of running out of my old source. Mr. Jason Santa Maria, big web guy. I did their new logo for their new little writing product called Editorially. And these are smart people, And they came to me, and I was so honored because he could pick anyone. And last summer I got to work on this with these guys. That was cool. Okay, little blacked out deal here. No tweets. No tweets. Who's into field notes here? Yes, you fucking better be. All right. Get a 3-pack and break the ice with that next door neighbor you haven't met, right? Well, here's our next one. It's about the stars. It's about the constellations. But don't tweet this yet. It's all coming out in the next couple of days. But on the front, they're going to be one of our most popular sellers was the all black Ravens wing.
You know we stream this, right?
Well, then we're going to be clipping some shit out. And on the back, we'll be clipping this out. It'll be out in a couple of days. On the back are constellations in 3 books, 3 summers, 3 phases of the summer, right? So you can see here what they're gonna, ooh, that little foil hit, ooh, right? Paper and staples, everybody. Yeah, right. You'll be there. Thank you. Our little secret, our favorite things. Okay, I'm not gonna lose my shit. My mom. That's right. My dad, Jim Draplin, the Blue Light Special Champion of Northern Michigan Kmart's participating stores. Yeah, my dad, I'll be seeing him in about 3 weeks. I can't wait. And lovely things. Lee back there. Everyone just take a look at Lee back there. Lovely things. Right. Puts up with this man mountain. Pretty strong girl. Yep. Long things. I had a wiener dog named Gary for 6 years. Little Gary. My favorite shot we had this big photo shoot for some shit, and me and Gary got on a little sweep and burn off a couple pixels. Oh, One time he got caught in my Carhartt jacket. Long things. But we were on the sweep. He was digging around. I would let him get way in there. You know, what's good for his mouth is good for mine, right? Toothy things. My nephew Oliver. Oh man, this little boy is so beautiful, and he's just the light of our lives and our family's life. And how to see him born and to see. I mean, I got to learn. You guys know what doulas are, of course, right? I didn't really know what a doula was. You know, I kind of knew the word maybe, but a lot of purple on doulas, a lot of hair, a lot of cotton. But I saw those doulas bring this little boy into the world that day, and it was beautiful. I mean, I have buddies who run record companies and buddies who, shit, you know, one girl's a big designer. I mean, whatever, you know, all kinds of friends who do some really cool jobs. But I think that's probably the coolest job I've seen up close. I mean, shit, that day, almost stepped in a bowl of afterbirth. There's no chance. No shit. But now he's 3 years old, and he's growing up, and his words are getting better. And we play Legos, and I tell him stories, and it's just insane. Like, I just, you know, I mean, shit, he's just down in Selwood, so he's helping me slow down a little bit, this little toothy guy, Oliver. Seasonal things. We're coming into the warm season as a man of size, and I'm just here to warn you, I'm going to be hosting a, it's autumn. I'm looking forward to autumn coming up here. But powdery things, I'll be issuing a gold bond alert from Multnomah County starting around June 15th, all the way through. This isn't funny. Funny things. Oh, man. Portland is not funny. I know y'all like it. Well, it's a ha. My parents love it. You know, they're in Michigan. Ha. I saw the crew that makes Portlandia. And I just was like, holy shit. Catering and fucking cars and in my brain it was like that Lance Bangs guy and like 6 people or something. Making kind of a funny show, right? When I saw what fucking goes into it, and then I watch what they make and how unfunny it is. Sorry, this is recording. I expect a lot more. The 100 people running around with clipboards and shit. The skits are kind of long, aren't they? They're kind of long, right? To fill the time? Yeah, I noticed that. So, funny things. Don Rickles is fucking funny. Totally inappropriate. But look him up. That's a really fun YouTube one night. Go, you know, on your couch after you've exhausted all your Game of Thrones and all that other shit that everyone won't quit talking about. I work for a living and I don't watch any of that shit. But Don Rickles is fucking funny. Look it up, seriously. Yeah. One of his bits that I've been trying to during my shows is I'll go, excuse me, sir, am I going too quick for you? That's a Don Rickles thing to get the pace going. Sorry. But that's a Don Rickles thing. That's one of his things, yeah. Worst fucking thing ever. It's a serious thing. I do what I can to defame this hunk of shit. Some of us here are from Michigan. And this shape-shifting son of a bitch. First he was kind of he had the ghetto pass with the kid and play hair. Yeah, look it up. And then he was some kind of new metal guy with the umlau. Yeah. And now he's a good old boy. He's going to bomb Iran with Romney and Bocephus, whatever the fuck. Shapeshifter. Fuck Kid Rock. Yeah. Persnickety typographic things. Ooh. All those designers in the crowd take some notes. Okay? Primark abuse. Yeah, you know about it. It's not funny. It's on the rise here in Portland, Oregon. That's a quotation mark, all right? Takes a key command. You know what I'm talking about. Thank you. The rest of you, listen up. That's a Primark. Know the difference. 12 inches? That's 12 inches, okay? Yeah. Overrated things here. Fucking Portland. And every goddamn place I've been forced to eat at every wonderful show I've been able to talk to. After the show, they want to take you to Thistle and Dick, the nicest artisanal place in town, blah, 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 blah. You know, oh, great, you know, some kind of fucking menu I can't even read. No decimal points, enough stacked food. It's fucking overrated. Twice the time to get it from Master Chef Jacques Strapp in the back. You know, I'm sick of this shit. Thank God for Sizzle Pie. So you can go get a goddamn piece of pizza in 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 1 minute. This fucking Ken's artisanal bullshit for 2 hours. Fucking seriously? So we have some top brass from Sizzle by here tonight, and I just like to thank them. So more persnickety type of graphic things. Oh man, I stay clear of Hollywood, but man, we're gonna go hit all the blockbusters this summer, sure. But that dick who's making 10 times more than I make, we can't quite get that right. You know what I'm talking about. It's a big blockbuster. Pisses me off every time. Scientific things. I number my tweets. Because every tweet means something. I'm real sick of this LOL shit. Ha. You know, emoticons and, you know, the fucking live tweeting of the sports. Oh man, unfollow. You know, use your social media like a tool. You know, and quit wasting. I call it bandwidth abuse. You know, I try to make each tweet mean something. Give us a shot. We're on Twitter. Required things. We got a merch table here tonight with some required things. Shit that you need to get through a long, hot summer. We got merch, we got T-shirts, Oregon, we got field notes, got little click pens and weird little stickers and shit. Some Oregon posters, they're educational, informative, the gift that keeps giving. Here's the thing. Thank you for coming to this and sitting through this thing with me. And yeah, thank you. So don't forget. I want to go to my head. Any questions or anything? You know, maybe not. Was it fun? I don't know. What else is going on tonight? Some sort of wine tasting somewhere, or some sort of cheese sniffing or some shit? What's that? Yeah.
I was just worried that we're going to see you on this episode of Hoarders soon.
Of what? Oh, Hoarders! Yeah.
Where do you keep all your stuff that you junk?
Well, you've been to the shop. It's in, I have a lot of flat files and I have a lot of stuff. And of course, photos are free. So there's a bit of an illusion there. Like when I go out there and I'm junking, one time Dale was going to bring a remember when those Pooch mini bikes were cool about 6 years ago? Remember that craze? Yay! Well, what are they called? Yeah, those were cool. Well, Dale was going to bring one of those from fucking Ohio back to Portland to sell it to make $200 extra or something. Right? Well, that's my buddy's deal, right? I just take pictures of a lot of shit anymore, and the idea that the flat stuff, it's harder and harder to keep, it's scarier to me that I don't enjoy it. Everything is digital in the world, and that's what we're all going up against. But I actually get through it better when I can scroll through it, in my little bridge or whatever you want to call it. My dad. Here's one of his quotes: "Is he just wants one of everything? So what's the problem, right?" And as he slows down, one of the things we talk about doing with Dale is we lay like a nice white sheet down on the ground, or get a big piece of foam core or something, and all the shit that we sell of his, we lay it on there, and we get a couple shots, and make him a big flickable iPad that he can just enjoy his shit, and I don't know, it makes me want to cry even thinking about that shit, but this idea that he can't enjoy it anymore because he's not allowed to climb in the rafters at 71 or 70 years old, And, I don't know. It's a weird thing because I love all this old stuff, but, I actively trade a lot and give a lot away when people come in because I've already got a photo, so, yeah. But hoarders, yeah. Yeah. The cat ones are great, right? Yeah. Anything else? All right. Great hat. The Gresham transfer. Yeah, we could talk about the hat all night. Man. All right. Well, thanks you guys for coming. I hope you dug it. And come by the shop sometime. Or don't. That's what we do. We're in the big yellow building up above the most expensive sausage in town at Olympic Provisions. They're great. Don't ask for ice in your water. You have to go confer with people. It's happening to me every time I go there. Excuse me, ma'am. I get ice in my glass here. Well, let me go talk to someone about that. Fucking sleep through all this shit. All right, we cool? Was it fun?
Yeah, everybody should come up here and ask more questions if you're too shy to ask for some reason I don't understand. But check out the merch and Next time, we're taking the next one off, and then we return on July 9th with Kenneth Michael Merrill. He's a publicly traded individual. He's your new investment. KMIPM. KMIPM is a personal decision-making engine modeled after a stock market. By measuring influence by the number of shares a person has, we've created a way to quantify opinion about a variety of issues. So it's going to be really great. Let's give Aaron one more round of applause.